All right, welcome everyone. HubSpot Connect. Probably play around with that name a little bit, but basically what this is all about, and I'll probably jump through a few slides because we've already gone over our process, systemize, automate, delegate side. I don't need to go through that every week, and I don't want to bore you all with my background. But more so, what is this for those people who are new? So it's a place to connect, a place to ask questions, a place to learn. And it's a place to learn about HubSpot, integrations, AI and CMS and marketing, a range of different things. The structure of these sessions will be, I'll go through and talk a little bit about a certain topic. And today we're going to talk about marketing emails and how you can optimize your marketing emails within HubSpot. And then from there, we'll open it up to questions. So if you've got questions, don't be shy. If you want to ask something really specific to you, that's what this is about, because people will learn from that, hopefully. Even if it's not relevant to them, it may be relevant in the future. So feel free to come this with extremely specific questions or anything generic you want to learn as well, because this is all just about opening up the platform. And I think those of you who do use HubSpot see it. There's updates almost daily at the moment that they're doing, so it can be overwhelming. There's a lot of great features, but we just want to stay on top of it. So like I said, today we're going to talk about, just optimize your email marketing within HubSpot. I'm going to look at a few tips and tricks that you can utilize within the system, talk about some stuff that, can be pretty basic, but, I think you should get a little bit out of it. All right, what we're going to talk about is these sort of topics. So I'm not going to stay in the PowerPoint slide the whole time. I'm going to jump out, but just so we've got a little bit of a base. The first thing we're going to look at is just our email health. So any of you that are sending emails, I'll get you to, number one, jump into your own HubSpot portal, go to your email health section and see how that's sitting, and we can do a little bit of a live review of everyone and just see how we're performing. We're going to talk about use of AI within marketing emails and what sort of features HubSpot has to support you sending your marketing emails. We're going to talk about how to improve your deliverability, which is really important because everyone wants high open rates and everyone wants to make sure they're getting the most action. Oops. Oh yeah, that just said my screen sharing and I just realized I'm not. So let me just share my screen. Thanks for that one. In my own little world here, not that it matters. Cool. So yeah, sorry about that. I'm jumping between two different screens because my main computer is down. I'm on my backup one, which camera doesn't work. So yeah, these are the topics we're going to talk about today. How we can improve your deliverability and different methods that we can make sure we're getting the best out of open rates. I'm not really looking at content here. We're just looking at more like the technical side, because there's obviously a whole range around, subject line and actually good copy and good content. But that's probably for another discussion. Using automated marketing emails and campaigns. So depending on what subscription people are on, some people might not have access to automated emails, and that's fine, but we'll still have a discussion about that. And then probably one of the key parts to everything is list management and marketing segmentation. So we'll go through those things. Feel free at any time to just throw your hand up and let me know if you've got any questions. Like I said, we want to make this interactive. All right, so first off, within HubSpot, just so everyone's aware, you go into marketing, you go into email. When you're in email, you click on the health section. This is pretty much when you're looking at your marketing email and your marketing email health, one of pretty much the key areas that you want to look at. Obviously, looking at how each email performs is great, but this email health is the thing that will make sure that you're performing well when sending marketing emails. So can everyone find this section? Does everyone have a score? Some people might not have a score if you don't send enough marketing emails, and that's okay. Feel free to chuck in the chat, how you're tracking, what your score is, if you've got any concerns about it. As you can see from us, we're actually doing pretty well in terms of we've got high open rate, high click-through rate, high bounce rate, a poor unsubscribe rate, and that's brought us down pretty far to 6. So it just sort of shows how we're tracking, and that is because we have been sending more emails over the last month or two in an effort to further engage, and we have engaged some lists that maybe we shouldn't have, but it's all part of it. And the thing that I'll point out with this is you can come back from it. Now, why is this important? This is important because if your email if your email score gets lower and stays low for a longer period of time, it's going to affect your ability to send emails without going to spam. There's a simple way to put it. There's obviously a lot more technical side, but you want to keep your email score high so more emails go through. This is a really simple way to put it. When we're looking at this, we've got a couple of really cool things that we can look at. We've got the benchmarks as set by HubSpot. So this is taken by looking at across the entire database of companies and setting what is the benchmark for good open rates, good click-through rates, good bounce rates, good unsubscribe rates. You can also filter by your industry benchmark. We don't have an industry, but if you're in marketing, you'll be able to do it. I do generally find that the benchmark really only changes by 1% up or 1% down. It's not like anything too crazy. Some click-through rates for some companies will jump up a bit higher. I have seen, we've worked a bit in the travel industry, that click-through rates might be a little bit higher for that. So have a look at this. What we've got here then underneath is then your score. And as you can see, we have moved up and down over time. That's someone who does focus on trying to manage their email health, but it does track and move through time. And then we've got our different scores. So we can see our open rate by month, our click-through rate, our hard bounces, our unsubscribes. And then the good thing is it'll give you recommendations on how to improve it. Open those recommendations, read through them, understand them, and then we've got high performing and low performing. Before we jump into everyone, I just want to see, does everyone understand this terminology? Opens, click-throughs, hard bounces, unsubscribes. I probably presume everyone would know opens, click-throughs, unsubscribes. Does everyone understand what a hard bounce is?
No, I was just going to raise my hand and say, what is a hard bounce?
Yeah. So bounces, when it comes to emails, is basically there's two different types of bounces. There's a hard bounce and a soft bounce. A hard bounce basically means that email is incorrect or doesn't exist anymore. And so HubSpot will mark that as a negative. A soft bounce might be a system issue, for whatever reason, the email didn't make it, and that's okay. With the hard bounce, HubSpot will straight away put them on a suppression list and will not send that person an email again. Similar to if they unsubscribe. A soft bounce, they won't. They'll resend it to them. So it is important. And why that's important is because sometimes some businesses will have it that, people will inquire on the website, put through a fake email, they'll then send them marketing emails, and then that can impact, their deliverability over time. So that's something just to be aware. The other big one, which is a real negative, and it is annoying to see that we've got one there, is a spam report. That's a real red flag. That's basically someone has said you violated Privacy Act and, you shouldn't have sent them that email. Sometimes I think I've checked that person, they had subscribed to us, but they had subscribed to us a while ago. So that can be for a range of reasons why they would do that. Yeah, was that a question, Nat?
Yeah, quick one. So when this red flag or spam report comes up, you're able to see who has sent that through. Obviously not in this session because we don't need to expose the details, but you are able to see that. Is that right?
Yeah. So you can see all this data. So on every single email that you have, you'll be able to see all the opens, clicks, including what links they've clicked.
Yeah.
Hard bounces, and it breaks up hard bounce, soft bounce, and it even gives a description in the email.
Yeah.
What they've actually done, which is really
cool. Thanks, mate.
And I'll open up after this just the last email I sent, which was the email for this event, just so that you guys can have a look at the data there, just in case you're not sending them or you're not checking, because it is pretty interesting, the sort of data that it can get.
I've got a question. Would you be able to show us at some stage how to filter the hard bounces from email marketing campaign?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. You can add them to a list and say, like, what I do. I'll show you after, because I was going to talk about in the list. But when my list I create, in every list I create, I add a suppression to that list to say, do they have a hard bounce reason? Yes, no. Or is it a hard bounce reason known? It is. Is unsubscribe known? It is. It'll remove them from lists and you won't have to send it to them.
Okay.
The other thing as well, I'll show you after. When it comes, so this is important, and I'm jumping ahead a bit, but marketing contact limit. Everyone has a marketing contact limit. HubSpot's cheeky. If you go over, they'll upgrade you.
Yep.
There's a section that you can go and manage that marketing contact limit, and it'll automatically pick out hard bounces, unsubscribes, and then let you remove them from a marketing contact.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. So yeah, this is something to definitely check and just keep an eye on. Does anyone here want to make comment? Does anyone see anything strange on theirs? Is anyone doing really well? Anyone not doing so well?
Mine says I don't have enough data, which is just
Yeah.
a fact, unless I go into the individual emails that I've sent out. So it's really good to have this benchmark and understanding of what to expect as we move forward.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like once if you do have a bigger customer base and you're sending more emails, that's when it triggers it. I can't remember what the exact number is that triggers it.
Yeah.
But you do need to get to that point.
Above 400.
400, cool. And I think, for everyone, if you're not sending regular marketing emails, even with a small database, it is something to look at. These are people who have, you've had interactions with, you've probably spoken to before, you probably haven't spoken to in a while. Creating a very simple newsletter is just a very easy thing that can take you 20 minutes a week, to do, and you can be having touch points. You're not going to make, $1 million in week one for sending an email newsletter, but you can convert some customers over time.
I've got another question regarding the email opens. I mean, is there a way I can see what time the email was opened or clicked? Because I couldn't find if you have an email campaign, because last month we ran our first email newsletter, and it showed who clicked and who did what activities, but no time was shown on each of those activities.
Yeah, there's so not within the report, but what you could do is you could run, you could go to, a second, I'll just see if I can do it quickly. Go to contacts. So there's a few properties in the against the contact, which would include last time they've clicked a link in an email, last marketing email open.
Yep.
You could filter by that and see that data. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it gives an exact time.
Okay.
Have a little look. So I'll go to contacts. We'll go to edit columns just so we can see. What you'd do is you'd filter by that open that email first, or created a list, or whatever it is.
Yep.
Go to edit. And apologies, I'm on my old laptop, which is very slow. We go to open. And then there's latest. Where is it? Last marketing email open date. I don't think it gives date. I don't think it gives time. I'd have to double check if there's a way to give you an actual time.
Yep. The reason I'm asking this because we experience a lot of bot activities. So the moment we send out an email, the first few lots are just bot clicks. And then afterwards, we can see actual humans are actually clicking through. So the time is sort of important for us to filter those bots out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, HubSpot does have, so this is the last email I sent, and it does have bot filtering is currently on.
Yeah.
So what that means is it will remove bots as from your open rate and your click rate, and give you that more accurate data. So we'll do that, and I think Nat just said you can see the time it was opened in the actual activity of the contact, which is correct.
Right.
I don't know if there's a way you can get that as a report. There might be through an activity, but I'd have to double check.
That's all right.
All right. So yeah, just to jump further in, we're now in the actual report. This is where I can come and see the actual data. And like I said before, if I want to come in and click and see, who's unsubscribed, I can see. If I want to, come and see who's clicked, which might be some of you guys, maybe, I don't know. I can see who's clicked and I can see what they've clicked on. So some will be maybe unsubscribed. Some, see, there's just here, got a few different people there that have clicked on things, which is really good data because there's often multiple clicks and multiple links that we might have. Awesome. Alrighty. So yeah, are there any questions just about that? Yep.
I've always got a ton of questions. So
Please do.
because this is a recurring event in the calendar, does that reference the acceptance via the contact in HubSpot, or that's different to, so like, I might not necessarily open the email because it's already in my calendar and so on and so forth. So is that measured by in any way?
In terms of if you've opened it, if you've opened an email or you've sent an email to a client?
So you've sent the email for the marketing, but then you've got a recurring calendar invite set up for your clients who have registered their interest. So is there any way that HubSpot measures the calendar invite setup? So I know I'm probably asking it the wrong way.
Yeah, I think to measure like attending events, is that more that one, or?
Yeah, that would be. Yep. Thank you for translating for me, Matt.
It just depends where, like, how you're holding the event. There are some apps like you can integrate, like Zoom and Calendly, where it'll track. And
Yep.
I know Apple set something up similar for some clients before.
Yeah. Okay.
That would do that, but yeah, you would probably need to link Zapier or link a third party or do like a few different things like that. But yeah, it can be done.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions?
I have a question regarding scoring of email scoring.
Yeah.
So what I've done is I've tried to do some email scoring attached to contacts, but what it does is like you have to add each and every campaign and add a score. I mean, is there a way that whatever email you send through a particular campaign, they can add multiple points as they open or clicks?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways you can do it within HubSpot. They've actually got an AI, predictive lead scoring, which can do some of that stuff, but it doesn't let you specifically do what you want to do. It's just the overall management. In terms of giving points via email, yeah, you can 100% do that. It's just setting it up in what's called the HubSpot score, which I think you've already done. The trick with that is it can be a bit fiddly if you're doing it every email, because then you've got to go and give a score for that. What you might be better doing, depending on what you're after, is maybe set workflows. So if someone opens an email, that would push them into another workflow that would do this.
Okay.
If they click a link, they maybe go here and they get another email, or they get a task to call. It just depends on what you're trying to achieve.
So what we're trying to achieve is like we send a newsletter every month. So like over, say, in a quarter, we would look into which customers has engaged the highest. Then we would set up a task. So it's not just based on one newsletter. It's probably a series of newsletters that we want the score to be accumulated rather than.
Yeah, you would then. Yeah, the HubSpot score would be perfect for that. Then you would just be able to give them a point, or a point every time they open an email, 2 points every time they click a link, 3 points every time they visit a website, and then at the end get a benchmark rating for who are the top 10%, top 20%. And you could have them on 50 points, or they could be on 200 points. I don't know, and you trigger it from there. So I think I think that should work. And you just go into the property section in the contact, and then you basically go to HubSpot score, and then you can just create that yourself. It can be a little fiddly, but I could do another section on actually HubSpot scoring. Actually, that'd be a good one.
Thanks.
Cool, good question. Alrighty, so we've had a look through here. You can see a range of different data points for the click-throughs. As we go down, you can also see, so it loads, it'll show you like how long they've viewed it, and a range of really great different data points. In terms of like creating your emails, there's a couple of really cool little things in HubSpot now to support that. And obviously, AI is all around in HubSpot. And as we look at it and we create it, I'm just going to open up a quick email. Just while I do that, are there many people here, and Nat, I know you probably say yes, have many people who played around with a lot of the AI features within email marketing within HubSpot, or are aware of them at this stage, or? No. Well, basically, what we can do is we open this up and we go to the different page. We can click and highlight, and what the click and highlight will allow us to do, it'll bring up this little icon here, and this is our little AI assistant. If I click on that, it's going to allow me to rewrite, expand, shorten, change tone. And so we can utilize the inbuilt AI features with HubSpot to, make sure that we're happy with the content of our email. Yeah, obviously you can put it into ChatGPT, you can do a range of different other things, but again, it's just something that's readily handy and readily available. We've also got within settings, we can come and click generate. And I know, like, personally, when it comes up to subject lines, it can be something that, not struggle with, but you want it to be catchy. What it'll do is it'll give us a few different options. And as you can see here, they've prompted out. If I like this one, I might go more like this, and it will go again. So again, just really easy ways to get content out and get content out quick. Same for preview text. I need to put in a subject line for that. Preview text is the text that will show below. Is there any questions just about that? Like I said, there's a lot of AI features within HubSpot. That's really not basic, but I think it's just a really good example of another way that HubSpot's trying to push to allow us to utilize AI within the business. Cool. Alrighty, so I suppose the next thing I was going to talk about is just how we can actually improve our deliverability when we're sending marketing emails through HubSpot. So there's a couple of different things that we can do and that we shouldn't do as well. Number one, who here has ever purchased an email marketing list? Because I have. But has anyone else purchased, you go and buy a list? Don't do that. Never works very well. The lists are terrible. Not a great way to do it. You put it in, you're going to get spam, you're going to get unsubscribes, you're going to get bounces, you're going to get a range of different things. So just number one, don't do that. Number two, don't send to unengaged contacts. So when we do get to a certain section of the HubSpot send, we've got the unengaged contact section. And as you can see, contacts that haven't opened last of your 11 emails. These are people who are pretty much gone. You could maybe risk sending little campaigns to them every now and again. It's probably not best practice, but we've done it before, and you can get people back in. You're going to have a low open rate. You're going to have unsubscribes. It just depends on how healthy your email list is looking. The other one, use personalization. So statistically speaking, having personalization in emails is more likelihood to get you higher open rates. Doesn't need to be anything over the top, just high first name. Key things for that is to make sure that you have the first name set within HubSpot under the contact. Sometimes if you add a contact directly from the HubSpot email extension, it'll just add them as an email address. So it'll be like, hey, Matthew@trusttheprocess.com rather than hey, Matt. What else we want to do within HubSpot, we've got the A/B test. So again, from a lot of people in here who aren't sending a lot of marketing emails, it's not going to be as big of an issue, but something to be aware of, and a really cool feature is an A/B test. Now, I personally don't go that I need to have two completely separate emails. I just look at subject line, because what is the thing in the first instance that gets people to open emails? It's the subject line. What you can do with an A/B test is it'll split your database that you're sending to in half, and it'll send to 25% the one email and 25% the second email. And then the winning version, whoever has the higher open rate, will get the final 50%. Really cool way to make sure, like really cool and easy way, especially with the fact all I need to do is come in, hit test, create it. I can, change the test duration. This is all recommended by HubSpot. And then I can just simply use AI to generate a second subject line. And by doing that, you will see higher open rates because it's going to go with the one that works better. When you're happy with your open rate, that's when you can probably start looking at maybe changing content. So I suppose at the start, what we look at how can we make sure that we're reaching our audience. Second step is how can we convert our audience. And so if you're looking at more the conversion, that's when you might start trying different content, different copy within the emails. One thing about lists, with marketing emails too, like anything, lists get old. If you've got a marketing email list that's a couple of years old, you can pretty much guarantee that people who've been on it for 2 or 3 years aren't either engaged or aren't relevant or maybe don't even exist. That's okay, but it's just something to be aware of. And there actually are platforms out there that you can utilize to make sure that your list is accurate. Has anyone heard of platforms like The Bounce and other email validation platforms?
I've heard of Clay. I know that's quite an extensive software, but does that have that capacity, Clay?
I think so. I don't know that one personally.
Oh, okay, all right.
But what these will do, Kickbox is another big one. I use The Bounce just because, I don't know, that's what I use. Basically what I do is I send a list to The Bounce. The Bounce will then, basically what it does is it pings each email address and it sees what it gets back. And it'll then give you an indication if that email is still active or not. And it'll give you ratings of, some will be do not send, some will be risky, some will be good to go. And so if you've got a database of 10,000 and you haven't done email marketing in a while, put them through that and it'll let you know, because people move jobs, people leave their email addresses, people do a range of different things. It's a really good and easy tool to make sure that your database is accurate and you can integrate it directly with HubSpot. The final one, apart from talking about lists, is just a really simple one. And again, this is getting down to making a 0.5% difference. But when you're sending marketing emails, it is shown, studies have shown that it is better to send them from a person rather than from a function. So what I mean by that is sometimes people send marketing emails from, sales at or marketing at or hello at. It is shown that sending them from Matt or Jasir or Nat at is better because there's more trust and people see it's from a person rather than from a business. There's little things like that. And it can always be looked upon as a dark art, marketing emails, just because of the fact, there's so many tiny tweaks that can make a difference. But if you start getting to 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 contacts, 0.5% of a difference can mean a lot of revenue. The last one is just talking about lists and making sure that, we've set up our lists in the correct way. List management is all about segmentation. There's a couple ways that we can segment when it comes to marketing, and segmentation is probably its own other topic, so I won't go too deep into it. The way I look at it is really simple. I look at it in 3 different areas: segment by location, product, and industry. Location, obviously, where am I selling? Am I selling by state? Am I selling by country? Am I selling by suburb? And then how do I segment that so I can target? The segmentation isn't just for marketing, it's also for reporting. Then I can report on those locations. I can target those locations. Obviously, product, very easy. Has someone bought this from me before? What can I sell them? Can I then upsell them this? Do they need a renewal in a year? Do they need a service? Do they need maintenance? Do they need blah? And then industry as well. And there's definitely other areas that you can segment. That's just sort of how I generally look at it, as a sort of base level. And I generally find people would pick 1 or 2 of them to start with. And then, expand from there. When I do look at lists though, I do try and explore lists in a few different ways on top of that at a very base level. What I do look at is we want to have, number 1, your master list. So I've got my CRM master list here. And if I click into it, this is an active list. Does everyone understand the difference between an active list and a static list within HubSpot? An active list is a list people can move on and off. A static list is a list they're put on time. a good way to talk about an active list would be you are a lead and you've got an open deal, and so you're on the lead list. Then all of a sudden you win the deal and it goes into close one, and you then get moved off the lead list automatically and get moved onto the customer list based off the life cycle stage. So do you see what I was talking about before when I've got unsubscribed from all email hard bounce reason? If it's known, that means they've unsubscribed. So you could run reports based off that and see everyone who has unsubscribed. So this then removes anyone that I can't send marketing emails to from my list and gives me an accurate position of who I can market to. The other thing you want to do is you want to set up suppression lists and engaged lists. So you can see here, I've got an engaged list of contacts who've opened marketing emails in the last 3 months. If I'm ever seeing my open rates get low, that's a surefire thing. Go send to that list for 2 weeks and it'll start coming back up. Because they're not guaranteed, but they're more engaged. And then you can do similar with suppression lists. If you've got lists of people who, they've already got it inbuilt into HubSpot who haven't opened emails, there may be other people that you want to suppress.
Excuse me, Matt. Could you please, for those, or especially me in the room, explain suppression lists a little? Yeah,
so like a suppression list, I don't know if I've got it set up at the moment, but we don't do it for clients. Could be anyone that's a contact that's older than 2 years and hasn't opened a certain amount of emails. And so if I want to send to a highly engaged marketing list, I might suppress those people and not send to them. It's generally for me to do with time. We do have some clients that don't want us to send marketing, like we work with some partners who don't want us sending marketing emails to their clients who are also on suppression lists, which is fine. And there's probably some other use cases for that as well. Now, the other one, again, when we talk about automation, and then so we move on from lists, we also have marketing emails that we can send that are automated through the pipeline. Now, does anyone here use campaigns? Does anyone have access to the campaign feature in HubSpot? It is a Marketing Pro feature, which might mean that some people don't.
Yep, I do have one.
Cool. So if you do run, your, let me just show my tab. So basically, I'm in a campaign at the moment. So a campaign is basically a planning tool and a reporting tool for marketing assets. Marketing assets within HubSpot are ads, socials, any marketing. What you can do is if you've set up a string of automated emails for a nurture sequence, for whatever, this is for our CRM onboarding, and we've got requests for referrals, we've got a range of different things in here. We've only actually just set it up. You can come in and add in all the marketing emails. So we've got 19 marketing emails through this journey. And then we can then report on sessions, influence contacts, revenue, associated deal value, deals with revenue, and get some really good data around how those automated emails are performing.
Yep, makes sense.
So again, there's definitely a lot more in that. So I won't go too far into it because I know we're getting close on time and I want to wait for questions. The last thing I want to talk about is the most important thing when we look at marketing emails is your marketing contact limit. People don't know where to find their marketing contact limit. You go to account and billing. And in account and billing, like we'll see what we pay for HubSpot here, so everyone close your eyes. It's not that bad, to be honest. But as we go down, we've got a range of different sections when it comes to subscriptions. And we can go, oh, where am I? HubSpot. No, sorry, there we go. So I'm in marketing contacts, and I can see that we've got 6,000 contacts, 6,600 contacts out of 7,000. So we're pretty close to our limit, which is fine. We're aware of that. Now, if I go over that limit, it's going to upgrade me straight away. It will give us a little notification. I'll get email warnings, but if I go over, even by one contact, HubSpot will upgrade. The way it works, just so everyone's aware, once you're set as a marketing contact, you're set as a marketing contact forever. Even if you unsubscribe, even if you're hard bounce, I, as the account owner, need to physically turn that person off as a marketing contact. How do I do it? I'll show you in a second. The other thing to note about that is if I turn someone off as a marketing contact, they still remain a marketing contact to the end of that calendar month. Now, fortunately, the end of the calendar month is 2 days away. Why does HubSpot do that? HubSpot does that so I can't today set 1,000 people as a marketing contact, send them an email, then unset them and set another 1,000 as a marketing contact the next day, and then do the same the next day. It sort of makes sense. So one way to do it is through here, view usage and limits, manage marketing contacts. Now what it'll do, lets me go through and go bounced, unsubscribed. And it shows me the number. I think our team's already done this. I can also filter. So say, for example, if I was targeting one list this month, I might want it to target, people who bought this product. Next month, I don't want to. So I might remove them so that next month I can target different people. And then I go next. I'm not going to do that now. And then I remove them and update it from there. All right. No, I've spoken a bit today, but are there any questions? I know there's questions before. I don't know if I answered them or not. But yeah, anyone throw up your hand or?
Hey Matthew, this is Paul from Allflow. How you doing?
Oh, Paul from Colombia. Are you in Colombia at the moment?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
lovely.
Cool.
You're enjoying your time?
One thing that I've been actually finding really difficult, and I don't know if you can actually answer this question, is that when I used to actually work with Salesforce, and you have an email that you actually send like 1,000 people, right? And you want to actually reset again a reminder email to people that didn't actually open the email. Is there a way that you can actually do that on HubSpot, or you have to actually create a new list out of the initial email?
Yeah, there's no set easy way to do that in HubSpot, like while you're in the email as an example. Like when you go to, there's not a button like in automation in here when you're in the email to do that. It would have to be through a list, and then through probably either through a list of people who haven't opened it or through a workflow where you would put them in the workflow, send them the email, wait, put a delay in for 5 days. Those who haven't opened it would then go into a new email.
But then to actually run through the workflow, you definitely need to actually upgrade into Marketing Pro, right? So you can actually create a whole sequence on the automation.
Yeah, if not, you would use a list. If you were just on Marketing Starter, if you're on Marketing Pro, you could do it through workflow. But yeah, no easy way. Similar to Salesforce. They do within the email, within the report, you can click buttons and stuff to get those lists pretty. You can filter it pretty easily. But yeah, you have to manually do it.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. Enjoy your time over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? And it can be about anything. They don't need to be about marketing. They can be about anything else to do with HubSpot if you wish.
I'll raise a question if no one else has got one. So with the marketing emails, and let's just say in that the campaign, it's to book let's say a split test. It's a paid session with you or a non-paid session with you. Have you experienced paid bookings with the use of HubSpot? So you can pay to have a booking or consultation. Is that something that you've experienced, or any of your clients are using it?
Yeah, we don't use it. We don't do paid bookings, but we've definitely set it up for clients before.
Yeah.
In terms of setting it up, there's the integration with Stripe to be able to take payments. You can do it in a few different ways, like either integrating it with a meeting link or just putting it onto the website with a different method. With that, you can go through, insert your meeting link into a button, so your HubSpot meeting scheduler, and then push it through that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, just test and adjust. Obviously, putting a payment in might stop people from submitting forms and doing whatever. But
Yeah.
obviously, if you want to get paid for your time, and that's part of your
I see it working more effectively with highly engaged clients. So as in remarketing with those, not necessarily, new
Yeah.
campaigns.
yeah. And just it depends on what you're selling as well, I suppose.
No, that's good to know.
Cool. So yeah, that can be done, like I said, directly. There's like a little button in the meeting link, which is only like a fairly newish feature that allows you to take payments. But the payments are a Stripe integration, so just as long as you're happy with that. Cool. Any other questions? If not, we might finish up. Awesome. All right, guys, thanks for that one. Hopefully you got a bit out of it. Like I said, marketing emails, though, can be simple. There's a lot to it. You can make small little tweaks and get good results. And at the very least, if you're not sending regular marketing emails, hopefully after this session, it'll, give you the kick in the bum to sort of maybe do one a month at least, just a little newsletter just to get started can be very helpful. Awesome. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Friday and has a great weekend. And look forward to speaking to you all soon.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
See you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.